Yo, what is up? Welcome to Bring in the Backups. I'm your host, Erick Hellwig. On the show today, but I don't have any time to fuck around on the intro, guys. It's a packed show. Let's start. Brendan Sagalow is the comic in the house. Very funny, out of New York. Brendan Sagalow on Instagram and Twitter, at Brendan Sagalow. His new album, Not Now More Than Ever, you can listen to streaming on Spotify right now. Check it out. It's a great album. He was really fun to have on the show, so I do hope you guys hang out and listen to the whole thing. We had two buddies come on the show today, too. Isn't that fun? My wife, Liz Galalis, you know her, at Liz Galalis on Instagram and Twitter. Give her a follow. And then my buddy Gary DeNoia comes in. Remember Gary from episode 5 or 6? Somewhere back there, we bitched about the Jets for an hour. He was my first remote podcast. I picked him because I knew I'd fuck up the recording because I was nervous, and I value his time the least. Sorry, Gary. No, I'm kidding. But, I did fuck up a couple days in his life. So hook him up with a follow on Instagram at Para DeNoia. That's at Para, P-A-R-A, DeNoia. Our backup quarterback, Bubbe Brister. The boys in Pittsburgh know Bubby. Philly knows Bubby. The New York Jets fans know Bubby. And those Broncos fans, oh yeah, you know what Bubbe Brister did 97 through 99, backing up that horse-toothed son of a bitch, John Elway. All right, well, there go the Denver fans. Sorry, guys. Bubbe Brister's the quarterback. We have some fun with that southern bastard. I got hacked. That's what they talk about on the show for the first 20 minutes. Some of you guys know that. People on my newsletter, all of you that reported the hacker so I could get my Twitter account back, thank you, thank you, thank you. That was more than I was expecting. I really appreciate it. I go into it more in the show, but you know who you guys are out there that did that for me. I truly appreciate it. Last bit of news, I'll be quick about it. The merch store is open. It's up, erichellwig.com. Right now, I got shirts. I got a cool hoodie. Dude, you got to check it out. Dude, I don't know, chick, whoever. I don't care. Dude, chick. You could be a murderer. Anybody listening. I can't be picky about who's listening to this show. If you left the room and your dog's listening to the show, get your dog to my merch store and so he can buy a shirt he can piss on. I don't care. All right, let's start the show. This is Bring in the Backups with Erick Hellwig. Ding dong, the gimp is dead. Welcome to Bring in the Backups, home of Erick Hellwig, the defeater of a hacker, motherfucker. Something tells me the hacker is listening. All right? The guy who hacked my Twitter account is listening, and if he is, please don't do it again. I don't know if I mentioned it in the intro. I record the intro after I record this part. So if I remember to mention it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But old E-Bones got hacked. That's what happened. Someone snuck into my Twitter account. What was this, like 8 days ago? It was like the Monday before last. And, I didn't handle it very well, buddy. It sucks. Look, social media sucks. Okay, I don't like being on it, talking on it. I think it's killing our country. That's what I feel like. And I'm like, whatever benefit I get out of my career, is it really worth every single person in the country trying to become a woke politician? The answer is no. I think it's hurting people overall. But that said, you got to play the game. You play the game. I wasn't good at Twitter. Somebody in the business told me you got to get good at it. So I was like, all right, I got good at it. And I did. I have a ton of followers. I had like 6,000 followers on Twitter. Then all of a sudden, I can't get into my account, and I just see somebody's deleting all my shit. My followers are going away. And then the kink comes in. Buddy boy, woo-wee. Whoever took this account was into some kinky shit. Now, I wasn't seeing it from the inside, okay? I was on the outside watching the guy's account. He blocked my account, but because I have other accounts on Twitter, I could follow him. And it was like the photo was like a demon with like a goat head, like banging somebody that might be dead. I don't know. I don't know how, like, there are, like, content stuff on Twitter, right? Like, they can kick off goat dead body fucker that took my account. So this dude steals my account, starts posting all this crazy sex shit. I lose my mind. I got celiac disease. Someone steals my Twitter. Look, I lost a lot of followers and I can't eat bread. I punched a hole in the wall. That was my week, all right? That's what happened to me. I'm not proud of punching a hole in the wall, everybody, but that's what I did in my house. If this was a video podcast, it would be in sight. It's right behind me. I can see it. I'm leaving it up as a memorial for my douchebaggery. I don't know what to say. Like I said, not proud. I got hacked. But then there's a good moral to this story, and that is I've got some good fans out there. All right? If you're listening right now and you are one of the many who reported Captain Fuckface to Twitter, I got my account back like a week later. And I did lose like 600 followers. I lost all my tweets, which sucks. But I got the followers back. I got my account back. And most importantly, this psycho is not now able to like look through my messages and DMs for 8 years, which he was able to do. What's weird is like, so he got into my Twitter account, took all my shit. But then I got back into my account, which he had taken over and made his 8 days later. So I then did the same thing to him. Like, I technically stole his Twitter, but it was my Twitter. So I stole my Twitter back. And I went through this guy's DMs. Holy shit. Man, some people are really some people in life, they're like, what? How hard do I need to try every day to get laid? Dude, if you're trying that hard, the dude was DMing like 30 chicks a day on Twitter. It's a lot of anime, a lot of the ball gag matches your eyes. Not a pleasant DMing phase for a couple days. Christ, I was not enjoying it. But the fucker is out, okay? We got him out. And what I wanted to say, I wanted to thank my fans because I put out my my newsletter, sweet newsletter, erichellwig.com, sent seasonally and sparingly. Good Lord. Jesus, enunciate. Sent seasonally and sparingly. If you're listening right now and you haven't signed up, fuck you. No, I'm kidding. Please sign up. I put it out once or twice. When the leaves change. I'm actually kidding. I live in LA. That never happens. So every 2 months about is when the newsletter comes out. But I put it out to my newsletter. I was like, hey, this is the account that is screwing me. Please report it. And I saw. I can watch on MailChimp. I can see who goes and clicks in there. Do me a solid. Couple hundred people did that. And I got my account back. And it's cool because here's what happened. I never talked to a single person. Twitter is like the Wild West of robots. That's what it's like. Psycho automated AI robots controlling your mood. That's what Twitter is basically. Whenever something's like there's a hashtag that pisses you off, a robot decided that you were going to get in a fight with your wife. That's what Twitter is. It's robots. It's robots controlling your mood. So I never spoke to a human being once, which is crazy. Like 6,000 followers is a lot to never speak to anybody when someone comes in and steals your shit and has access to all your personal stuff. By the way, this hacker tried to get into other things, but I was able to change I had different passwords for stuff, so he didn't get into too much. The only thing that really took a hit was Twitter. Spotify got my shit back right away. He locked me out of my Spotify account. Spotify was like, yep, it's fake. Boom, 20 minutes, it's done. Talk to a real person. Spotify, awesome. Crushed it. Sent him a couple screenshots. Boom, I was back in. Twitter was like screaming into the void beyond the brink of oblivion where people go when they die. Like, who is out there? What is it? Who's running Twitter? Jesus Christ, it's like the biggest company. It's like it literally decides who gets to be president, and there's not a fucking person that works there. Anyway, never spoke to a person. I put in the account the complaint, say, hey, my account's compromised. Someone stole my shit. Within 24 hours, Twitter closes my case. Sorry, closed. Case closed. That's when I put the hole through the wall. Little hole through the wall action. Boom, fist, wall, hole. But then I my wife. It was my wife. My wife was just calm. First of all, she was like, "Don't punch the hole in the wall." But then she goes, "Get out to your newsletter. Tell people to report it. Start a new Twitter account. Have people follow you there so you don't lose your name." My wife was reporting it every day as well. And so I did what my wife said. I went out to my mailing list. I was like, "Please follow me on this account and report this account." And a bunch of people followed me on the new one. Got the Erick Hellwig handle back. A bunch of people reported the other one. And then about a week later, they were like, I just got an email from Twitter being like, relog into your account. I took back Erick Hellwig, used the second one. Now I have like a backup account and got my followers back. So that was it. That was the harrowing tale. You guys are like, who the fuck cares about this Hollywood wannabe? I don't know what to say. This is important stuff in the world that I live in. If anybody here works a blue collar job, they've probably blown their brains out 5 minutes ago. But anyway, I got my horseshit Twitter account back, and hopefully I can keep growing it until this podcast gets really successful and I can pay somebody else to run it. But that was the big part of my week. All right, it was getting hacked, punching a hole in the wall. Feeling bad about the hole in the wall, I was like, I'm back in therapy now, so I talked to the therapist about it. She was more understanding. I was like, okay, maybe I shouldn't feel that bad about it. I just gotta, I gotta take a walk next time. Gotta listen to some Enya, some Beach House, some Sigur Rós, Explosions in the Sky. What other bands played shitty, boring music when I was in college? Who's the chick? Who's like the Bjork? I remember like everybody like says Bjork. She wore like a crazy dress, so like people know Bjork from 20 years ago. I actually tried to listen to Bjork. It sounds like turtles like shitting in a can. Like I don't even know. I'm like, what is this? It's not. Music has to have like a chorus, Bjork. Not now, Gordon. Not now, buddy. I know. Later. Gordon the dog. My dog wants some dinner right now. Maybe I'll give him some dinner. Maybe I'll give him some dinner. What time is it? Nah, you're still early, dude. You're like 30 minutes early. I'll get you when I'm done recording. Hey, till then, fuck off. Go on the couch or something. Get a toy. Get a toy. Gordon, get a toy. This guy does not respect me at all. My wife's the pack leader. It's because my wife says things that the dog understands. She goes like, sit, leave it, move. When the dog starts misbehaving around me, I'm like, bro, come on, this is a bad time for me. I just talk to the dog like it's a person. I don't like not talking to the dog like he's just my friend. But it doesn't really help since the dog doesn't speak English, right? Love you, buddy. He's being very cute. He's being very disobedient and very cute. That was my week, guys. Like I said. Hacked by a gimp. It wouldn't be a gimp. Gimp is just a funny word that ends with a p sound, so I say it a lot. But he was a dominant. And he was DMing submissives. And that was they were talking a lot about like consent and stuff. I actually learned a lot about the kink community getting my account back because this fucker like made everything on my page about his stuff. I mean, it was crazy. It was insane. I mean, I don't know why a sex hacker wants my account. I guess it just like looks good when you're trying to like impress all the chicks. You're like, hey, I got 5,000 friends, and I'll fuck you with a double-sided dildo. I don't know. I don't know what to say. This dude was into some crazy shit, and I'm not judging it. I'll say that. I'm not judging it at all. In fact, I got some ideas, but I'm not judging what he does. I'm judging who he is. He's a piece of shit. And by the way, it could have been a chick. Could have been a chick pretending to be a dude, right? I don't know. It was a dude. Getting my cords tangled up here. So look, enough of my week. All right, that's what I've been up to. I want to get to one of our first bits for the show. Then when we come back, we're going to talk about our boy Bubbe Brister. Huh? What a name. Bubby Bees. We're talking Bubbe Brister. Later in the show, we're going to be interviewing Brendan Sagalow, very funny comedian with a new album out right now that you don't want to miss. So hang out, enjoy the first of many pre-planned bits. Bringing the Backups presents Letters Home from the Bench. October 31st, 1960. Babe Perilli writes, Dearest Deirdre, how I long for you, babe. Of course, the foregoing utterance of babe bears reference to you, Deirdre. Having the first name Babe as a man is a confounding impediment. I've oftentimes pronounced that we require a new pet name forged afresh. Hitherto, Babe was a moniker bestowed upon men in the 1930s. At present, it's a sobriquet for lovers entwined in sexual congress. In any event, I'm a terrible quarterback in 1960. Over the course of time, I become prosperous. I know what shall come because earlier today I respired opium poppy with Tom Flores and quickly brushed the face of God. Imagine my surprise, Deirdre. God is an olden, faded, Asian song and dance man proffering low-quality street opium in Green Bay. Deirdre, if time is a circle, my love for you echoes inside it. Between the present and the moment we embrace, I dream of your touch. Babe. That babe was me saying my name at the end. Do you know how many men are named Babe from like the 20s and 30s? Very common name. That's got to be tough. And when your name just becomes a word for, somebody you're fucking. I feel bad for the babes out there. A buddy of mine actually sent me Babe Laufenberg. Am I getting that name right? Laufenberg? Some guy that was the quarterback. He's a backup in the league for 10 years in the 80s and threw like 8 passes, which is perfection. But we're not talking Babe Laufenberg or Paparazzo, something that sounds like he's in one of the Italian crime families of New York. We're talking Bubbe Brister. Dub Bees. Bubbe. Bubby has the most ridiculous Southern accent I've ever heard in my life. We got to start there. And it's so hack when, every late night show's like, I want to be dumb. I'll talk like a dumb dude. Just do that, hack joke. By the way, the next pre-planned bit is going to be me doing the exact same thing. But yeah, his Southern accent is insane. It sounds like someone doing a terrible impression of somebody from the South. But it's fun, man. He had a hell of a career. And let's pop it up on Wikipedia right now and see what my man Bubbe Brister did. Number 6, kept his number in almost every football stop he had, which I was impressed with. From Louisiana, went to Tulane, transferred to, at the time, now it's ULM, University of Louisiana Monroe. I know them because they're a terrible mid-conference football team, and that's my shit in college football, baby. I like them mid-conference suckfest. That's me. I don't give a shit about Alabama and Clemson. Show me a 2-6 Buffalo team taking on UMass. I'll watch all night. Got drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Played in Pittsburgh for 7 years. 3 years as a starter. That was where he got most of his stats, was there. And I thought one cool thing he did, I'll give him some props here. Chuck Noll, his last season, this would have been in 91. Tried to put in Bubby to back up, mop up for Neil O'Donnell. Bubby, one of my favorite quotes I've ever heard. Listen to this. I don't mop up for anybody. Boom, he said that to Chuck Noll. Eat shit, Chuck Noll. That's a backup quarterback telling a Hall of Fame coach to suck his dick. I loved that. I don't mop up for anybody. Bubby coming through hard. Played all right in Pittsburgh. You know, the team didn't have a lot of success towards the end of Chuck Noll's run. But Brister was backing up for 2 seasons and was a starter for 3. And then he kind of gets into a what do you call it? Like a little battle. With Neil O'Donnell. Which I liked Neil O'Donnell too. I don't know why. He has like a cool name. Neil O'Donnell sounds like he sounds like an astronaut to me, right? Just because it's Neil Armstrong. This is the dumbest. I should really plan out what I'm saying more on this podcast. Gordon, I'm not going to feed you dinner, dude. It's not 5 o'clock yet. Knock it off. Too much racket. All right. Yeah, battled Neil O'Donnell. Loses the... Bill Cowher comes in as the coach in 92, which is the last year Bubby's in Pittsburgh. Cowher goes with Neil O'Donnell. Fucking dumbass Cowher. Just think of how many more Super Bowls the Steelers could have won if they had stuck with Bubbe Brister. The answer? 0. It's not the point, all right? You should have stuck with my man. Love Bubbe Brister. So he leaves. He goes to Philly, baby. That's where I remember him from, 1993, 1994, with the Birds. Go Birds. Holy shit, I was watching some Bubbe Brister highlights, and I just came upon a Week 17 Eagles-Saints. Meaningless game, huh? Saints are 7-7. Eagles are 6-8. Can the Eagles win? Pull even, 7-8. And then not go to the playoffs. Week 17 against the Saints. Who do you think pulls it out, baby? Bubbe Brister and the Birds. Brister played terrible. It was all defense, which is that was usually the case. Usually the case in the 90s for the Eagles. Man, the jerseys, those Kelly green helmets, silver wings on the side. Bring them back. Bring them back. You know what sucks is like teams like the Bucks, teams like the Eagles, they had success in their newer uniforms, right? Eagles in the midnight green, Bucks in the pewter bullshit, whatever they're wearing now, the chrome helmet. And because of that, they won't go back to the uniforms where they were losers, okay? The Eagles were losers in their Kelly green. The Bucks were losers in their creamsicle. But you got to go back. The Chargers did it right. Chargers went back to their jersey. Well, I guess the Chargers were better in their powder blues. It's not the point. The point is just go back to lighter. Here's the real point. All right, let me cut myself off, which I've noticed I do a lot in editing. Just wear what you were wearing in 1988. Done. Anybody that's like, well, what should we do with... Wear what you were wearing in 1988. Every fucking movie that comes out has to be set in the 80s. Jesus Christ, we've been pretending like Hall & Oates has been a good band. Every movie can suffer from 80s nostalgia, but a football team can't just go back to their uniforms that we all miss. This one helmet rule is horseshit, right? That's what it is. The one helmet rule makes it so you can't wear the throwback color, so it makes teams not wear their throwback. Since 2013, it's ruining the league. It's a bigger deal than people let on. How much fucking money does Stranger Things have to make until you realize just look like you're in the 80s? You had a couple teams that haven't changed anything since the 80s, right? The Packers, the 49ers. I think that shit looks boring, though. What you need is like you got a team like the Bucks where you had the creamsicle, you go to the crappy pewter, then you get like the alarm clock numbers they had for a little bit. See, their uniforms suck so much that now when you go back to the creamsicle, you really appreciate it, okay? It's like having a tough life. You have as bad a life as possible so that the little moments that are nice, you really appreciate them. So some of these teams, right, the Broncos have like that like weird, like the dark purple, boring sleep snooze fest. Go back to the light blue helmet with a big D, with a Bronco breaking through the D like he's a murderer coming through your door at night. Just go back to your old shit. Anyway, who were we talking about? Oh, Bubbe Brister, that's right. He's the quarterback. Goes to the Eagles. He actually had some good seasons. He was a backup in Philly. Goes to the Jets for a year. I watched one highlight with the Jets. They had nice uniforms too. Is anybody expecting me to analyze something factually on this show. Hopefully nobody at this point thinks I know anything. Then he goes to the Broncos. Now, I would argue, I know people are going to say Bubbe Brister's big moments are with the Steelers, right? That's where he was a starter. That's where he played playoff games in Pittsburgh. But come on. The Broncos, he had fewer starts, fewer plays, but that's where he won the Bowls. 2 Super Bowls. 97-98, right? Backing up John Elway. Loved it. He was good, man. In 98, he actually went 4-0 as a starter. He looks old as shit at that point, but, you know, what are you going to do? He was, football-wise. But the dude was great. I saw some video of, like, Terrell Davis, TD, was talking about Bubby. He's like, Bubby's my boy, but this dumbass didn't know the plays. I was like, fuck you, Terrell Davis. The quarterback doesn't get reps, okay? The backup doesn't get reps. So you can't have the full playbook. You just can't. And anytime you watch a backup quarterback talk about it, they're like, yeah, the coaches come to me, and they're like, what are your plays? Pick out a couple. We'll run what you got. We'll run what you know well, because the starter gets all the time with the first, gets all the time running it. So it's not like Bubbe Brister couldn't have known the entire Denver Broncos playbook. I just hate that, man. It's like, well, why do people throw their teammates under the bus? Yeah, man, you know, when Elway's quarterback, you just got to know your stuff. But when it's Bubby, you got to know what he's doing. You got to know what the receiver's doing. It's like, yeah, that's what you do when you, like, got a new guy on the job. You don't act like that guy has no ability to learn it himself. This podcast sticks up for the backup. That is what we do. Fuck you, Terrell Davis. Team Bubby all the way. Anyway, Bubby plays great with the Broncos. It's exactly what you want in a backup. Obviously, not going to challenge John Elway, but felt, and I heard him in interviews say, Bubby felt like an obligation to Elway to win games. When Elway was hurt in that 98 season, he was like, it means more to John for me not to fuck it up when I'm playing. That's a beautiful sentiment, man. That's why Nick Foles is such a great backup. Because he actually liked Carson Wentz. Don't ask me how. How about that guy? Gone to Indianapolis. I read something where they were like, Carson Wentz isn't going to be he's not going to be a good big city quarterback. I was like, okay, great. Let me know when Lake Tahoe gets a team. I'm sure Carson will be able to complete a fucking screen pass at that point. Not a big city quarterback. What are we doing? Bye, Carson. Bye. See ya. Not a big city quarterback. Not a lot of small cities in the NFL. Seen the NFL teams playing in high school stadiums? Huh? Aside from ones that have been like cities where they get destroyed by floods, NFL teams don't play in small cities, all right? Dumb take. All right, so then he's with Denver. He loses in 99. Elway retires. That's Bubby's third year with the Broncos. There's a quarterback competition, right? It's Bubby or it's Brian Greasy. Who do you think they went with? Broncos go with Brian Greasy. They let nepotism seep into their pores. We know what's weird is like football is the one place where nepotism doesn't work because you could put some famous guy's son in the game and he'd just get crushed. It's the best. That's why football is great. It's a meritocracy, right? As close as we're going to get. It's as fair as it gets. Yeah, so Brian Greasy was not good. But that's Bubby's last year in Denver. I think he went to Kansas City. No, he went to Minnesota for a year for 2000. Then 2001, he gets cut from the Chiefs, retires, and then 9/11 happens. So that's what happens when you cut Bubbe Brister, right? Terrorists fly planes into fucking buildings. So thanks a lot, Chiefs. That's Bubby's career, man. That is quite a career. What did he go, like 15 seasons? Hell yeah. Steelers, Eagles, Jets, Broncos, Vikings. Hell of a career. He seems like a cool dude, too. His numbers don't look bad. 81 touchdowns, 78 picks, almost 1,500 yards. Quarterback rating, 72.3. Match it up with the time. Quarterbacks had lower ratings back in the day. You see guys in college completing 42% of their passes getting drafted in the first round. Yeah, there he is. And then after retiring, what is he? He's does some Fox Sports Rocky Mountain analyst, Louisiana outdoor. It sounds like some fucking southern shit that I can't relate to. But some of you maybe can. I'm not hating on it. Like I said, I think it's a little hack when people go into the whole a southern accent, so I'm dumb thing. It's a little hack. And I'm admitting that the bit that you're going to hear here in about 2 minutes is pretty fucking hack too. I don't want to blow the bit. But let's just say I'm not going for the highest common denominator, all right? Sometimes you pick some low-hanging fruit. It's episode 13 of the podcast. I'm running out of ideas, people. Before we get to the next pre-planned bit, I do want to say something very quickly. The goddamn merch store is open. Woo-wee, baby. Merch. I got merch. There's 3 of you that are interested in buying some, but if you would like to, all you got to do, erickhellwig.com, and go to the merch part. You just scroll down until you see merch. There's also, it's on the site. I'm doing it through this place called Bonfire, but I don't know what their address is. Just go through my website. erickhellwig.com. I got merch. You can get a coffee mug for a very reasonable $15. Who's going to, that's not, I feel like that's a solid price for a coffee mug. How about a hoodie? A nice hoodie for $48 that I get about $3 from when you buy, and you'll be washing your car with it in 2 months. Sold? Deal. I'm kidding. I did go with the merch store. I was like, only comfortable clothes. I do not want like some itchy cotton shitty Gildan shirt. Isn't that what it's called? Gildan, that shitty type of shirt. Jerseys. By the way, neither of those companies will be sponsoring the podcast at any point in the future. I went nice shirts. I did that for you guys, okay? A little more expensive. I make a little less money. I lowered the price so that it's reasonable for you guys to buy. But I don't care. I just want people to actually wear the shit. Like, that's the idea, is I want it to be a comfortable shirt you can wear around. So check out the merch, erickhellwig.com for that. And I got to say, too, hit me with those Apple Podcast reviews, guys. 5 stars. I'm up to 117, 118, 19, somewhere around there by the time this drops. Got a bunch of reviews last week. Thank you. Appreciate it. Keep them coming. When I get to 200, you know what I'm doing. Putting on my special arches for plantar fasciitis. Going out to a track. I'm running a 40 time. I'm beating Tom Brady. Let me tell you something. I am the fattest I've ever been in my life. I'm taking Tom Brady's 40 time out. And you guys can make it happen. You want to see the video? Have me embarrass myself in front of the world? All of YouTube. It'll have 30 views 3 weeks after I post it. No, whatever. It'll be funny. And I'll make sure you guys have access to it. But you got to review the podcast. Help me out. Review Apple Podcast reviews, 5 stars. Let's get to our second pre-planned bit. Let's make it happen, and then we'll we'll get out of here. We're getting to our interview with Brendan Sagalow, which is coming up. Ew, Bubbe Brister here. Hope y'all are enjoying my podcast episode. Hee-haw! I'm like a piglet in a mud pack listening to these Yankees. I hope you enjoy my name, Bubbe Brister. There's 2 B's in it. Bubbe is funny, and Brister kind of sounds like blister or sister. There's just a lot of fun things you can do with a name like Bubbe Brister, and that's why I have a new business where I name your kid for you. I haven't named the business yet, but how about right now? Bubbe Brister names your baby. Hee-haw! Tagline. I just named that baby. It's real simple. Naming kids is tough, but I can do it for you. Luckily for this impromptu podcast ad, my sister-in-law is sitting over at the table, and she's pregnant. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Bubby.
Hey, Jenny. I'm starting a business called Bubbe Brister Names Your Baby.
I know, Bubby. You're sitting 3 feet away and talking into your phone.
So let Bubbe name that baby.
We're naming the baby after my mother.
Is her name Bubby?
No.
What's the baby's last name going to be?
Bubby, I'm married to your brother. Her last name will be Brister.
Ew, halfway there.
Bubby.
You know what her first name should be?
Let me guess. Bubby.
Hello, baby Bubbe Brister. That's 3 B's.
Great. How much do I owe you?
$1.
Why are you handing me $1?
That's it, folks. Come on down to Bubbe Brister Names Your Baby. We're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just message me on classmates.com. Bye-bye. Oh, how much fun was that? Liz Galalis coming in with the bit. Coming in with a little bit of help with the Vokes. You can follow her on Instagram at Erick's wife. That's at Erick's. I'm kidding. She's an earshot. I'm trying to annoy her. It's just Liz Galalis. LizGalalis. Follow my wife. That was a fun bit. She was like, we shot that at like midnight. She was very tired, so I was like, use it. Use it. Use it for the character. Use it for the action. We got real method on it. It was a dumb bit. I don't know what to say. I'm a little embarrassed. I'm a little embarrassed that I went Southern accent. That's the whole bit. If you think I'm making up this Southern accent, you got to YouTube Bubbe Brister, right? I found a clip of him roasting Merrill Hodge. Hodge? Why did I say it? Hodge. Man, my D's and my G's are fucking the shit out of each other on this podcast. Merrill Hodge. No, I found a clip from 10 years ago of Bubbe Brister at a roast in Pittsburgh. First off, he does well. You might remember, fans of the show, Sage Rosenfels did comedy before. Couldn't find video of that. The reviews seem to make it pretty clear he didn't do very good. But there's video evidence of Bubbe doing some, pretty homophobic but funny material 10 years ago at a roast. I was impressed. Impressed? God damn, let me get a sip of water here. What is happening? Yeah, Bubbe did a solid job. I think he might have taken an improv class or two before that roast because he seemed pretty comf with the mic. He did good, man. I mean, look, he sounds like he's playing a banjo in Deliverance, but he is a very interesting guy to listen to speak. By the way, he does a bunch of podcasts. I found a YouTube video of him doing somebody's show. There's like 40 views on it. Where are people getting everybody's contact information? Like, I haven't even tried to reach out to quarterbacks after the first 4 quarterbacks wouldn't get back to me on this show. I'm like, I'm not even going to make an effort. But it sounds like I could get Bubbe. So anybody out there that knows Bubbe, you get back to me. There's a couple people that listen that actually do know some of the quarterbacks I talk to, which is crazy. But I've had people listen to the show and get back to me like, what you said about J.P. Lossman is true. I'm like, really? I was making it up. So some of you might know. If anybody here knows Bubbe, I want an email on my desk in the next 5 minutes. I'm going to hack off my own dick. Did you guys read that story? I don't want to read that story. Why would I want to talk about? Never mind. I read a story about a dude cutting off the penis of a guy that was cheating with his wife. With scissors. All right, enough. No more. I don't want to. I'm like upsetting myself that when I talk to a therapist, this would be called self-sabotage, where I'm like, I want to be upset. I want to feel upset. This is me going to Twitter when I know I need to go to bed. Let's just see if anybody has a good opinion at 2:30 in the morning. Look, I'm busy. I don't have time to be fucking around on Twitter and getting into like shame, sadness spirals. I don't. Right? Trying to get this podcast out, trying to be a comedian virtually in a goddamn pandemic, trying to look at apartments and condos in LA and buy something. We're going to try to get a condo for the first time in my life, 35 years old, finally getting out of the renter's game into the ownership game. Trying to learn the difference between Studio City and Reseda. I don't care, but I have to know those things now when I look at places. I have to learn about LA. You know what I've realized is that most of my opinions of LA are just repressed memories of watching Entourage in 2006. Who cares what Turtle thinks about west of Sepulveda? Sepulveda? Dude, what is happening with my speech? Let me get some more water here. Drink it closer to the microphone. It'd be a little more disgusting. I am dying. Just like the doctor's appointments I've had to go on in the last couple months, right? I got my celiac, I got plantar fasciitis, I got my thyroid, I've got like a dermatologist that needs to remove 58 moles every 2 months. Christ, I'm not that old, am I? I'm 35 years old. I don't know, when I walk by the mirror, like I'm starting to look like the hunchback. I need to turn this ship around, all right? I've gained a pandemic 70. All right, it's time to get it moving. Next episode's going to be live from a Peloton. Project Drivel. My boy Tony had me on his show. You can follow him on Instagram and Twitter at Project Drivel. We spent like 20 minutes talking about Malice in the Palace on his podcast. I don't remember how it came up. I think we were just talking NBA. And so I just went to my favorite NBA moment of all time, which is, of course, Pacers and Pistons beating the shit out of their fans. And it's all the fans that sit way up close. So it's like it's the richest. Like, I never get to sit that close when I go to an NBA game. So I'm like, fucking wreck them. So, yeah, Project Drivel, you can hear that. I posted up on my Facebook, which, facebook.com/Erick Hellwig. Another million places you can follow me on social media, depending on whatever form of social media you're addicted to. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Not on TikTok yet. Haven't gotten that sad. But who am I kidding? It's coming. Let's get our third and final pre-planned bit rolling. If you want something done right, you need to do it yourself. Unless it's telling your audience how to support your podcast, because that shit gets old real quick. I think you should outsource it. And that's what I've done. Welcome to My Friends and Family Plug My Show. These are real people with real reasons why you should support me. I hope you listen, I hope you hear, and I do hope you support.
Hi, I'm Gary DeNoia, former guest of the show and current friend of Erick's. I don't think Erick talks about it enough, but he used to do improv. I was fortunate enough to perform with him in New York City for years, and I can honestly say he is one of the most unselfish people I've ever met. One time he walked out for the first 5 scenes in an improv show. In a row. He's that unselfish, you guys. A true teammate. Speaking of which, it's time for you to be a team player by writing a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on whatever platform you listen to. If it's on YouTube, make sure you subscribe and hit the notification bell. Head over to his website, erichellwig.com, for more information and headshots from 2014. That's erichellwig.com if you want to see 7-year-old headshots and learn more about all the Zoom comedy festivals he's in.
Thank you, Gary. If you want to follow Gary, he's on Instagram at DeNoia, and he's nowhere else. That's the only place to find him, on Instagram. So hit up DeNoia. Thanks, Gare Bear. Brendan Sagalow is a very funny comedian living in New York City. I remember him from my time back there. We used to do some shows. I mean, we were doing mics. This is going back to when we were both kind of starting around the same time in the city. He has a special out right now that is hilarious. If you're a fan of this podcast, you're going to love his work. The album is Not Now, More Than Ever. You can access it for free on Spotify. Again, Not Now, More Than Ever. Brendan Sagalow is on Instagram and Twitter as well, at Brendan Sagalow, BrendanSagalow. Follow the man and enjoy the interview we had with him. It was a really good time having him on the show. Yeah, mate. Well, you got a podcast, which I listened to for research.
Which one? Because I have two, but one of them is ending by the end of next month.
I listened to the Garbage Days one.
Yeah, that's the one that's it's coming to an end.
Okay. Big fight.
So, yeah. We got into this huge art. No, we were just like, a podcast is a business. Okay. It's a business, and then after a while, if you don't see any like growth or anything, you just have to cut the fucking cord. Especially when it's sure. Like, we had fun doing it, but we're just like, where is this going? What are we doing? We have no segments. We're just two idiots talking. Plus, we both have other shit around the corner. It was like, let's just end this, dude. You know,
it's hard to do that. We were talking about it before we started recording, but the sunken cost fallacy of once you're like 20 episodes deep, you're like, well, I might as well spend the next 5 years of my life trying to
make this good.
Yeah, and like I've talked to people about the growth of my podcast because I'm curious. I'm not talking with people in real life like I was before the pandemic, and I started this. So what probably would have just been conversations at clubs or whatever has become me texting someone, please tell me how many downloads I should be getting, 10 episodes.
Yeah.
Like, I have no idea if I'm eating shit or if this is growing in a... So even knowing, is this trending in a right way is hard because you're really not interacting with people unless you're... I guess you are. You're skiing, so maybe you're more than I am. But
well, you know,
for a year.
Yeah. I am going out and stuff. I mean, I'm not like, everybody's being safe, but like with the skiing, it was like everybody had a mask on and everything. But like once I was on the mountain, I was like, just letting it fucking come inside of me. But it's like our Garbage Days was getting like. It gets about like 500 downloads or something, and I was like, and we're on episode like 74, and even that, it's very discouraging because, you know, you go, 500 downloads, okay, looks like step aside, Rogan, blah blah blah, but then you hear people being like, no, even 10,000 is low. You should be getting more than 10,000. If you want a successful podcast, it should be like 80,000 downloads.
Great. Well, that makes me feel pretty solid about 275.
Buddy, 275 ain't it ain't nothing to squeeze at, but it ain't nothing.
Yeah, you're going to be my 12th or 13th episode or something like that. So it's like, okay. You don't know. When you put it out, it feels like you're just throwing it into the ether and you're like, maybe somebody's liking this. I would never listen to my own. Who the fuck is this low-level comic? Who gives a shit?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Even when people are like, hey, man, I listened to your... Like, people reach out on Twitter like, funny shit. I'm like, who are you? Like, what?
Yeah, exactly. That's so funny.
Why did you...
Well, that's like one of the signs that, like, this podcast might not last very long in your head because, you know... Not to like shit on it or anything, but like, so I had a podcast. The first podcast I ever did was a solo podcast that I called The Stupid Little Podcast. And I bought all the equipment and I would just talk for an hour. And I did that for 2 years. And I would get about 400 to 500 downloads. Same thing as Garbage Days. It never went up. And the whole time I was going, who would listen to this? I was saying that. I was like, who's listening to this? I don't even know if I'd like you if you do. I'm yawning halfway through it. It's a bad podcast. Now, the same thing kind of happened with Garbage Days, where I'm like, I could get people listening to this. Like, it kind of went up in my head a little bit. I was like, me and Scott are fucking funny. I could get listening to this. But it's also just two fucking dudes talking. Like, how many podcasts do we need that's just like that? And then now I have this new podcast called Here's the Scenario that I do with my two best friends, Mike Cannon and Mike Feeney, and our dynamic is really good. We have a structure and we have a reason for the podcast. Like, the whole podcast is just, you know, it's got like a theme. It's like scenarios and what if questions and morality questions, and we ask each other, and we have such a good dynamic that the dynamic is a character of the show, which, you know, I said once and they fucking shit on me for it. But that is like, and I listen to that show and I go, oh, I get listening to this. I understand. This should be successful, but we'll fucking see, I guess.
And now your Garbage Days podcast becomes one of my favorite things to find online, which is abandoned projects. It's easily, It's always hilarious where, like, I'll do that. I'll find podcasts and listen to the very last 5 minutes with, like, and we'll see you next week. And it just never...
Yeah, and it never comes back. Well, we've already...
Listening with the knowledge that somebody already quit is
I know.
hilarious.
We might say that on the last episode, but we had a conversation last time where we were like, all right, 4 more episodes and then we're done. We're going to pay for 1 more month and then we're going to feel it out and then just see what it's like. But also what's really funny is the last episode we did because we talked about it beforehand. We were like, before we get into this, what do we do? Should this be the last episode? Should we do 4 more? And we were just like, let's just do 4 more. And the last episode we did was so funny that it was like, we were like, fuck, dude. We were like,
because
what
the weight of keeping doing it is gone. So you're like, now you feel liberated to just say whatever you. Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling to quit something. And
yeah, it feels really good to quit.
It's like one of the best, like one of the. I'm not getting political, but like when people are like, I don't know how anybody ever voted for Trump. I don't understand. I'm like, well, have you ever told somebody to fuck off? Because that's what, if you can't understand that feeling, like that's what people feel like. The feeling of quitting, I'd put up as like one, like right next to putting a middle finger in somebody's face. You don't, to put a lot of work into something and then be like, you know what? I'm fucking done.
Yeah.
Great feeling walking away from and just leaving it like an abandoned like ghost town. I love it.
It does feel good, but you did catch me in a time where I'm having a full-on existential kind of new awakening. I think.
Oh yeah.
Maybe if you called me a week ago, I would say, man, quitting is fucking awesome. But since the snowboarding trip that I went on, I had no idea how to snowboard, and I was bad at it, and I wanted to quit, and I kept falling, and I didn't know how to get up, and I just I learned how to do it by perseverance and believing in myself and strength and everything, and like staying present and staying egoless, and it completely awakened me to this new process of being where I was like, wow, I can fucking do anything I put my mind to. I have the strength to do the things that I think I should have given up on. And so now I would say quitting is not as fun because it's so much better to feel the feeling, that high I got from getting good at something. I got good at it because I had to, and I had to stay present, and I had to I'd fall down, get right back up. Don't let yourself fucking rest for a second because that'll make it harder. You got to get up. Just learning something. I completely understand why, Gary Shandling started boxing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's something new to get good at. We've been doing comedy for so long. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but I've been doing it over a decade, and I'm like, I think I'm good. I have no fucking idea, but I know what I am on stage. Like, I know how to do this, but doing something new and having these new experiences was like, so awakening. Like, Thoreau wrote in a book that he was like, I think he said, I'm going to butcher this completely, but he said that he like got rid of all of his personal belongings and moved to the woods to learn how to live off of like the woods and to learn how to live in that place, because he said, I wanted to learn how to live before I died. You know what I mean? And doing all these new things and this new experience and having to fucking live for yourself and find fish and cook and do all of that, it's hard. But then when you get it, you feel so fucking good about yourself that it's like a new level of self-esteem that I never thought I'd ever reach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I pulled up the Thoreau quote. It is, I want to live off of the woods. That is what he... No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, okay. I was like, whoa, you're so quick.
No, I mean, look, here's what I would say. I still think quitting feels good. It doesn't mean you should always quit, but you have to understand the temptation of the thing you're fighting against. So it's good to know, like, it will feel great if I quit, but there's a payment that happens if I continue to go. And that's how I... pretend like you didn't have the right point. What I said. To act like I'm adding on to what you were saying.
In my stupid head, I could also say you're not quitting something, you're learning how to not do it. You know what I mean? I don't know, maybe that doesn't really make much sense. But isn't that what Edison said? Didn't he say that? He said,
I think Edison was the guy that Edison was like, I want to live off the
woods. I want to live off of a light bulb. That's what he said. No, I think Edison was like, I didn't fail at making the light bulb 100. He's like, I tried to make the light bulb 100 times and I got it on the 100th time, but I didn't fail at making it 99 times. He's like, I just learned how to not make it, or something like that. Again, another quote that I'm butchering, but you understand the point.
What did Edison do anything other than invent the light? I mean, I know that's a big thing. I'm not like
telephone.
Edison. That was Alexander Graham Bell.
Wasn't Thomas Jefferson the one who fucking invented the light bulb? Who invented the Edison, right?
Jefferson, no. Jefferson invented.
There goes all my legitimacy in anything I say now.
No, I think Jefferson invented democracy, and then
I thought that was Caesar. Who
was Caesar? No, because Caesar then turned it into. It was him.
Yeah, that was like an emperor.
Yeah, so I don't think it was Caesar that started democracy. I don't know, maybe like some Greek guy probably had the idea, but
we're so stupid.
Yeah, no, this is dumb. But I know Alexander Graham. But the only reason I know Alexander Graham Bell invented the phone is because I had a bit about it. That's the only reason I know that's the inventor of the phone.
What was the bit?
I don't even remember, dude. I don't even remember. I just remember the punch was like getting fingered by Alexander Graham Bell, and I had to Google the guy that made the phone to make the joke work.
Oh, that's funny.
That's the bit that that's the part of it that I remember.
It's a funny thing to picture getting finger banged by Alexander Graham Bell.
You know, it's just you don't even need to know the setup or the joke to know that the punch would have been.
Just getting fingered by someone named Alexander is all I need to get a laugh.
Just getting fingered or fisted, I think, is pretty fun.
Yeah.
It is like a go-to now.
Hey, fisted is just being fingered by all the fingers.
The ultimate fingering.
Yeah.
So glad my mom listens to the podcast. Biggest fan, by the way. You know what I found out today? I found out that my mom called me and she was like, I told Siri or Alexa to put on your podcast and it played your podcast.
Wow, that's pretty fucking cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like
a bit that I love doing if there are people over and where someone asks like, oh, who was it that invented the light bulb? I'll go, okay, 1 second. I'll go, Alexa. I'll wait and I'll go, Alexa. And then I'll go, oh, I don't have one of those. It's so fun. It kills every time. It kills every single time. And you can't even do that on stage. It's just a life bit.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you could try to do it on stage, but it's one of those, it's probably funnier in person, I would imagine.
It only works if A, you're at your house, and B, it's just casual. It's just one of those that you can't even, maybe you could write into a show, but it's only funny in person.
You know what it is? You know what it is? It's a joke that, it's a bit that somebody does in their life, and it gets a laugh every time, and they go, I bet I could be a stand-up comedian because this bit works so well. And then they would try it on stage, and they would realize that being a comedian is more than just talking.
Yes.
And they would, you know, to be humbled.
Being the real comic is going, hey, can I do this on stage? And then going, nah, this wouldn't work. That's what the real comic.
Never trying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I listened to your new special, by the way.
Oh, what'd you think?
Dude, you fucking crush. Did you do that before the pandemic or was that during?
No, that was outside on a roof.
Dude, the audio sounds amazing. That's first off. Is like the quality of it's great, but then
thanks, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I knew you were hilarious, but that fucking album is awesome.
Thank you, buddy. Yes, thank you so much. And it was so fun to do, and I'm like, you know, still high from it, I guess. I mean, it was like a fucking large kind of spike, and then fucking like up and then down. It's just like depression just followed it like crazy, man. But
after it?
Yeah, but also like I was having a couple of like interpersonal conflicts too, and also we're in a pandemic, so it's like a lot of people go like, oh, you know, after you release something, or after you do something, you do feel a depression. But I was just like, no, I have reasons to be depressed. It has nothing to do. If these things were away, I would be head over heels right now, just into my life. But then I had these other things, so I had to like really just because I was like, oh, here it is. Here's the after the thing depression, and then I had to like sit there and be like, no, it's not. It's because I got into a fight with this person or this girl's fucking me up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I know you talked about it in the special. You're still rolling single.
Single.
Anybody that's single and has been for the majority of this horseshit we've been going through, anything other than depressed, I would not know. I would not understand how you're not experiencing that.
I could say the same thing about you, Mr. Fucking... what, are you married? Are you married?
I'm married, dude.
Ew, gross.
I know.
No,
Gross.
I'm just kidding.
No, dude.
How long have you been married for?
We got married 2019. So this was May 2019.
Oh,
and then, yeah, it was great, man. I mean, I didn't think I was going to get married. That wasn't in the plan. I mean, my whatever. My parents got divorced when I was 14. I was in the middle. I was like, yeah, not for me. In my head, I was like, I'll just have kids out of wedlock because I want kids and I always liked the idea.
Hilarious.
I always liked the idea of somebody just being able to leave whenever they want to leave. I don't want somebody to feel like they have to be with me when things get. I listen to married couples being like, "Oh yeah, the 1990s were rough for us. Remember that?" And I'm like, I don't want someone to feel mad at me for a decade. I'll be just go.
Yeah.
Go if you want to go. So
yeah, there is that, but also there's the the other side of it, which is like a good relationship. Yeah, you fight, you get annoyed with each other, but at the end of the day, a good relationship, you don't want to leave. None of you want to leave, even if you are annoyed with each other or whatever.
Yeah, I feel that way about being married. I mean, I'm gonna come on here and shit on my wife and be like, I'm miserable.
In the background.
You've literally seen her walking back.
Yeah.
She no longer cares when I'm recording shit. I used to be like, keep it, no cooking. Now there's she's yelling at me to do laundry in the middle of a fucking show. It doesn't matter.
You can't hear anything, so whatever she wants to do, she could do.
We still live in a small enough place where she's just a part of every podcast at some point. But great. Yeah, to me, being married has been great, but I think part of that's because I wasn't dying to do it my whole life. I was really more I was with somebody that it was important to, so I got myself, I went to therapy to talk about it and deal with family stuff, and then now that I'm actually married, I'm like, oh yeah, it's better. It feels right to be married. Yeah, even the challenges that come with being in a house with no escape from somebody really for a year that come with that. Man, I just when I was single, I remember what that was like. I remember how fucking lonely I would get.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would have handled a year. I would have found somebody, I would have found a fuck buddy and then just been we just need to be.
Well, hey, buddy.
We just need to be a couple that's miserable for a year until it's over.
Yeah, well, I haven't been, I haven't been keeping this thing dry, but I broke up with my girlfriend in February, last February.
Oh, really?
Before all of this, and before I even knew what was coming and shit, you know what I mean? It wasn't even ooh, there's something a brewing or whatever. And for the first couple of months, I grieved on that relationship. It was a 5-year relationship. I grieved on it for 6 months to 7 months, 8 months, who knows? And there was a couple of months in there, maybe the first or second, where I was like, damn, this would be really nice to be with her during. Yeah. But then I was thinking we were fighting all the time. So being trapped in this with someone that you were fighting with all the time, someone that you're both no longer happy together with, I know she wasn't happy with me towards the end. I know I wasn't happy with her. So being with that, I was like, wow, what a fucking godsend. Thank God we did it when we did it. Thank God we ended this before all of this bullshit,
I had a buddy who was in a really bad relationship in the pandemic. And he came over to do the podcast safely. We were 6 feet away. I got to say shit so that they don't come for me.
I don't care.
Okay, good. Perfect.
You could be open mouth kissing a homeless person. I don't.
I fucked my friend after the podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
No, he was
the reward for doing this podcast,
buddy? Yeah, we'll keep it birch. So the point is,
okay,
we drove home to see our families on the East Coast in December. I left a key in a lock box out from. I was like, when you break up, you can come just stay here. Because I've been in that relationship where there's just feels like there's no escape.
Yeah.
And that was before a pandemic. I think the worst position you could be in would be to have been in a bad relationship when this started.
And I mean, the whole thing, who knows? It's all about who knows what would have happened? Who know? It might have worked out for some. It's pointless to even think about. But I also have so much trouble in just that area completely. I'm always either falling for somebody that I can't get, or I fall for someone and then, they fuck me in some way, or I'm just using women, for whatever reason, and then they get attached, and this is never fucking easy. And you just kind of, for me, I'm like, I just have to fucking accept this. The hardest part for me in these interpersonal romantic relationships is learning when to just fucking walk away. You know what I mean? I'm always staying so long in these things that I'm like, no, maybe it can turn around. When I really like somebody, I stick around. And like, even when you feel it, man, when you feel it, when you're like, this is done, I'm like, well, let me see, maybe we can bring back that old, give a little like fucking one of those shocky things to this. And
hi, I know what you're thinking. Anytime this soft music plays, it means there's been a technical difficulty, and I'm playing calming music so I don't lose my shit. This time, the Squadcast audio started to sound like crap, so I had to switch to the backup audio. Some of you may notice that the backup audio sounds even better than the Squadcast audio. So why transition at all? Well, that's because I forgot to hit record on the backup audio until 5 minutes in. And if you're wondering if that pisses me off, I think you probably know the answer, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to listen to the music and breathe. A deep breath in and a deep breath out. We'll get back to the podcast in just a moment. Funnily enough, you'll hear Brendan tell me I need to meditate because this week I punched a hole in the wall, which is something a 16-year-old boy does when he's all backed up with jizz and doesn't know what to do with his feelings. After recording the interview with Brendan, I had a couple other things that made me mad this week. I got in a traffic thing. Instead of yelling, I put on Beach House. Do you guys know the band Beach House? It sounds like two bitches singing at a lesbian Viking funeral. Just breathe. Just breathe.
Give a little like fucking one of those shocky things to this. And
when it needs a shocky thing in the first like 3 years, that it's what's it going to look like 30 years in?
6 months, dude. Fucking sometimes, and you just go like, especially when you're not, when you're like dating someone, but you're not like together or labeling it or anything. And then you get to that crossroads and you're like, fuck, what is this? And now all these feelings are on the line. And if it doesn't work out the way you want it to, there's a part of me that's like, man, if I could just bring it back to the time when we were first dating, where it was, we're nothing, and I don't care about you, and you don't care about me, but we like each other, and blah, 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 and feelings aren't on the fucking line. And then once you have that what are we conversation, it all goes to shit. Unless it works out. Unless you agree.
Yeah. I always struggled with the casual part of hooking up with people. I think that was like the Catholic casual sex is bad. I'm dating somebody, but somebody else likes me. Like, can I fuck? Can I fuck them? Can I fuck two people? I think some people are like, ooh, it's fun when you don't. It was torture for me. I couldn't wait to have the conversation of what are we. I wanted someone to be like, you mean nothing to me. I'm banging other people. I'd be like, perfect. I didn't like any of the ambiguity that ran in that phase that a lot of people look at, like the magic hour where the Field of Dreams, 15 minutes where he plays catch with his dad. It's the perfect time when people are just like each other and are banging and there's no attachments. Yeah. That used to drive me insane.
I love that magic hour, man. I fucking love it. I live for that magic hour. And then it just all goes to shit, dude. I don't know what happens. It's like, I don't understand what the fuck happens. It just all falls apart at some point. You know?
How old are you?
I'm 29.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I'm a
young whippersnapper.
Yeah, look, I know that there's so much more to my life than the troubles that I have now. I know that, at the end of the day, all I have is this present moment and whatever. Like, what's the thing? Yesterday is history, tomorrow's mystery, and today's a gift, and that's why we call it the present. That's the fucking
comedically. If you had a heart attack right now, I would leave it in the pot.
It would be
perfect.
I mean, the most perfect time in the world. My only regret would be having a heart attack on this pot.
No, that would be bad. You should, if you're gonna have a podcast to die on, you should die on the last episode of Garbage Days. That would probably
Garbage Days. Yeah, and then Scott blows his brains out because he doesn't have me anymore. But it's with anything I have like this, me, talking about me for a second, I just, it's hard for me to articulate my feelings because as a human, we're so fickle. I don't know what the fuck I want when I'm proposed with, what do you want? I can never answer the question because I never fucking know. And then it takes me a couple days. But that's actually therapy. Without therapy, I would never know what I want. But I'm trying to get as close to knowing what the fuck I want in that moment and being able to achieve it with assertion and confidence, but also, this mindfulness at the same time.
Sure.
And without therapy, I'm still fucking, I'm still so. I just had a thing where I was like, oh no, this is what I want. And then the next day I called her and I was like, I don't want that. The thing I said I don't want. And then the next day I was like, shit, I think that is what I wanted.
When did you start going to therapy?
3-4 years ago, I think.
So yeah, I didn't go till I was 28, and by the time I went, I was like, I felt like I was crawling in, like I couldn't go like another day without talking with somebody. But I really waited as long as I could. I was actually talking to a friend about it the other day who has needed to go to therapy for his whole life. He's had a very traumatic life, but he's got that like, I don't want to be a pussy, man. Like, therapy's for pussies. Like, he had that mentality.
2021.
I know, man.
What the fuck?
Well, he's starting to break that down. And the way I said it to him on the phone is I was like, nobody else is keeping score of how tough you are for not going to therapy. Like, all your friends are married, playing with their kids, while you pat yourself on the back for not being a pussy and suffer through loneliness. So, like, just go. Like, no one else is giving you points for not going. It's just you in your head talking yourself out of something that's going to help.
Dude, yeah. The hardest part of therapy is thinking that this person gives a fuck what you're saying and like still going. And like, cause every once in a while I just go to like, I think about my therapist. And I'm like, you don't give a fuck about me or what I'm saying. This is a transaction for you. But he actually really is a good guy. So everyone, I do like go, oh, that's not true. Blah, blah, blah. But I also am like, I don't give a fuck. I think today he did though. I had therapy today and I went fucking crazy on him and I was just like, and then this happened and then that and this whole fucking thing. And he, and he's just like, that's great. But he was really listening. He was like, go on. I was like, wow, you've never cared. You never cared like this. He's never asked me to go on.
That's nice. I had a moment, so I had to start with a new therapist. So I just had like my second session with her, and I got hacked on Twitter this week.
What?
Yeah, we don't got. I mean, I was up to like 6,000 followers. Some sex pervert hacked my account, deleted all my tweets from like 7 years. And started
probably a good thing, by the way.
Yeah,
he did a bunch of work that he did a bunch of work that we all as comics have to do at some point.
What he also did is he also unfollowed every single person I was following, which
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so like I was watching my followers like tick down 100 every day.
Oh my God. Why was he doing this?
I don't know. I think because I got back into my account like because I have a newsletter. And I was like, please report this account. Enough people reported it to where I never spoke with a human being at Twitter. They just eventually sent me an email to reset my password.
God.
So I got back in and had to delete all of his shit and then go through all of his direct messages. So he was just trying to get fucked. And I think having 6,000 followers looked good to like the kink community that he was in. I think that's what was happening. But
he didn't even go into the double-digit thousands?
I don't know. Well, probably because, honestly, I was like, 6,000 would be perfect to hack, because if you hack somebody with like 20 or 30,000 followers, it's going to get flagged a shit ton. And then there's no point in hacking somebody with 500. But somebody like right in that like middle point where it's like, it's not really enough people to have like an outrage or like, oh no, this person's gone off Twitter. I think that range is perfect to hack someone. But anyway, the point was I put my fist through a wall the second night of getting hacked. And then
really? Like literally put your fist through a wall?
You can see it.
Oh my God, you're like fucking Adam Driver in Marriage Story.
And I'm not
Every day I wake up and I hope you're dead.
I hope you're fucking. Yeah, I'm not proud of the fist in the wall, but I did it. And then I was going into therapy being like, oh man, I'm going to have to like really confront my anger and like all this shit. And I told my therapist what had happened that week, and I was like, I put a fist in the wall. I did the little pan over and showed her what I did. And she was like, well, that's understandable.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's always nice when they're easier on you than you think they're gonna be.
Yeah. Do you meditate, dude?
I did after I put a fist through the wall. My wife was like, you're never doing that again. So then I put on like, fucking Enya for 20 minutes and just laid down. Is that meditating?
Yeah. No, but
I tried.
But like the active, the active, what am I trying to say here? Trying to actually meditate, like sitting there and breathing and paying attention to your breaths and not being ashamed of your thoughts or your feelings, but letting them go by and examining them. That's something that I've been really practicing lately, and it's been great. It's been so fucking good.
Can I tell you what I'll tell you what I did. I can't remember where I heard this. He was talking about meditation for kids, and what they do is like kids will lay down and then they'll put like a Beanie Baby or some stuffed animal on their stomach and just watch when they breathe, it goes up and down. Tap into their breath without being too on the nose with it. And so I actually did that. I put on
a Beanie Baby.
It wasn't a Beanie Baby, but I have a stuffed Ninja Turtle.
Okay.
From when I was a kid, I put it on my stomach and I listened to calming music and I watched Raphael rise and fall on my belly. For 20 minutes.
I was your wife, I would prefer you punch holes in the wall than have a stuffed Ninja Turtle at whatever age you are, 49 or however you're old. How old are you?
I'm 35.
35, yeah, I figured.
Yeah, did you guess 49?
Yeah, I was just kidding. I got called old recently by a fucking 22-year-old. Like, this chick was like, "You're an old person." I was like, "All right, whatever." Anyway,
dude, you are so not. But
I know I'm not at all. But I mean, look at this skin. Come on, look at that.
Are you Irish? Is that what that is?
I'm Irish. Yeah, I think that's what this is. I think that's why I have good skin. But also, I have fucking eczema at the wazoo. So
ooh, baby!
What are you gonna do? But yeah, man, the meditation of like, that's exactly what it is. I mean, I would sit up, but like, and I practice it every once, I meditate every day. I'm going to meditate after this. And then, but there are some times when you're just not even in times of anxiety or times of, it does help with this stuff, but just like, say you're walking to the store or you're just waiting in line or you're on the subway or whatever the fuck. And you just start like close your eyes and just pay attention to your breaths and like pay attention to the drinking of the breath and then the outward of it. And just doing that has made my ability to be present in the moment has skyrocketed since I've been doing this, because anytime you start future tripping, you just start doing this. And I just start going like, no, I'm here in this moment. Whatever I'm feeling is this moment. It will fade. It will pass. If I'm happy, it'll pass. If I'm sad, it'll pass, but I'm here right now, which is the most important thing.
I mean, this is the most I've ever gleaned emotionally from a conversation with the word cunt in somebody's name below. literally labeled yourself Cunto.
Fucking...
You literally labeled yourself Cunt O'Brien in our Squadcast chat, and then you're like, you gotta breathe in the moment, Eric.
Look, dude, it's like. We've both been doing comedy so long. How many podcasts can you do where the people are zipping and zapping with each other? It makes me fucking sick. If I have to fucking joke around with someone for every minute for an hour, I'm going to lose my mind. And also, people listening, who gives a fuck? Just two guys being like, oh, remember UCB? Oh, fuck, yeah. So I try to actually, I like talking about this stuff.
I do. Dude, I do too,
good.
man. And I was struggling in the beginning of the podcast because the podcast is about backup quarter. I mean, your guy's Bubbe Brister. We haven't mentioned him once. I don't give a shit. But in the beginning, I was like, I should get like guests who like sports so that like it fits in. And then I was like, I don't want to do that. Like, I think it's more interesting to have conversations where like we fucking talk about whatever. And if somebody, I don't give a shit about it like having to fit into it has to look a certain way every time I talk to somebody. Like,
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And also, you couldn't have picked the worst person to try and talk sports with. I know nothing, and I'm done caring.
You're proud.
I'm an adult. I'm a grown man. I don't give a fuck about sports anymore.
That's good.
Or even trying. Like, I used to try in my early 20s. I would be like, yeah, this guy's a real bum, huh? Like, I would say shit like that where I'm you got to do defense here, man, And I'd just be like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I don't give a shit about this. I don't care. I'm not fazed by it at all.
Yeah.
It's just, that's just not like I understand liking sports. Like, I understand like the just everything about it, but I'm just like, I don't fucking care. I like different things. I'm more like I'm like a homo, dude. I like fucking like art and shit. Like,
I like gay shit like art. Yeah, I mean, I like gay shit too. I think the thing I like about sports the most, if I'm getting away from like the colors and like I moved around a lot when I was a kid, but my dad was from Philly, so a lot of sports comes with like it's the thing I can talk to my dad about and not get mad at him or start fighting 5 minutes in. I know a lot of it comes from that, but if I'm just looking at it like on a purely what is appealing about this as a human to watch, it's the most fair society gets. We play this game, there's a set of rules, and at the end, this person wins and this person loses based on the number of points they accumulated.
Yeah.
And it's why sports that with ties like soccer fucking suck. Because you're like, what? Well, then why was I even watching it? Like, my whole life is going to be, it's not black and white. It's gray. It's ambiguity. It's, I think something good's happened for the country, but there's unintended consequences, and now they're bad. Fuck that. Sports, it's like Tom Brady wins, this guy loses, end of story. Eat shit, see you next year.
Totally, and it's that same feeling that I was talking about when I was learning to snowboard, where it was like, this is so black and white. There's no gray here. There's no ego, because I can't lie and say I'm good at this. Because I obviously am not. You have to know exactly where you stand, and that's, I think, the connection of sports that you're talking about.
Snowboarding, by the way, is vastly superior to skiing.
Yeah, it's so much fun. I had so much fun doing it.
It's great,
and I would love to go again. And just get better and go faster.
Yeah, sure. What I found easy about learning, not easy, is difficult to learn how to snowboard, but I found it way easier to just like go slow down the mountain on a snowboard than to slow myself on skis. Like I feel like the starting point for snowboarding is you just lean back a little bit more than you normally would, and you can get down the mountain quicker and get more reps actually moving on the board. With skiing, I'm like, I always just felt like I'm just going fast right away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm already a Kennedy 5 seconds into it.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, like, and also with snowboarding, it's like you have to really feel your body. You have to become like in with your body, because like you can go down like where the board is like this, and like you can go slow and pace yourself and everything, but my quads start fucking burning trying to do that. So I have to turn to like give them some time, so I could stand up ooh, and then come back and then do all this fucking shit. I was doing shit that I an hour ago I would have been like, there's no way I can pull this off. I thought I was going to die. I like the first time I went down the mountain, I went right into a fucking tree, like Sonny, Sonny and Cher's Sonny.
Yeah.
Sonny Bono. Is that his name?
Sonny Bono.
Yeah.
So I said that like I was deeply offended. Like, how dare you?
Sonny Bono? Yeah.
Sonny
so I was
Bono.
like, I'm just kind of rambling at this point, but it really just felt good. And, and then the next day, I was still so proud of myself. I was still walking with a little bit of a smile, and then I was thinking, I was like, wow, I feel really good. And I know this is also going to pass. So it made me just incredibly more zen and present, I think.
Dude, you're making it sound like I gotta meditate if this is really how you're feeling while you're snowboarding. I mean,
buddy, get headspace, get calm, do a fucking, even if you're not like, I'll send you something right now. Let's see if I can I put something in the chat here? Yeah. I just sent this to somebody, I think. This might be, I don't know what this is. If that's a YouTube. Yeah. So that is a playlist of like 10 or 12 free daily meditations that are only 10 to 12 minutes. Just do that. Do every single one. See how you feel. And then just, if you're not a better person, or like, if you don't feel more better. If you don't feel better, then I'll go I'll kill myself.
I'm literally saving it into my my YouTube playlist right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, thanks, man.
I hope that's the right one. But that's what I was like.
It's actually just like a Slayer playlist.
Yeah. You're putting it right now. I used to do a joke about how I was trying to do a daily meditation off YouTube, but I kept the play next video feature on, and I forgot that I put Who Let the Dogs Out by Baha Men in the queue. So it was like right after, it was like, and that was your daily calm. We'll see you tomorrow. And then I was like, Who Let the Dogs Out?
It's nice, man. When you were talking about the feeling of learning how to snowboard, and like I couldn't have done that an hour before, but now I was doing it. It reminded me not to talk about improv, because you mentioned people talk about that shit all the time. I do too.
I like improv.
So I taught improv. I got really good at improv in my 20s. Great use of time. Highly recommended for everybody. Take something you could get everything you need in 2 years, stretch it out into a decade.
Yeah.
So I was teaching improv for a long time, and as soon as I started teaching it, that became so much more fun than doing it, because I was teaching beginners. So it would be like a fucking firefighter and an actor and like a guy that wants to like run for office in Queens, and they're all like playing like patty cakes with each other in class. And you would literally watch in beginner classes people be like, I cannot do what you're asking me to do. Like I'm just like, get up, I'm going to give you a suggestion, you're going to just do a monologue from your life for 30 seconds. And they're like, I cannot do that.
Yeah, dude.
Like people start sweating. I had people would cry, like, and then literally like 2 weeks later, they're just doing it, and they don't even realize they're doing it. I'm watching them do it, and I just go, hey, do you remember 2 weeks ago when you said like you'd rather die than do a stupid exercise, and now you're fucking pretending to be the king of Siam and like whatever stupid scene you were doing? And they're like, oh yeah, I guess but like getting people in that mode of constantly discovering you can do the thing that you're saying you can't do. You just have to push yourself and stick with it. Like, it's like one of the most rewarding experiences of my life was watching so many people do that over the years with improv.
Yeah.
But like, dude, it's a good lesson for anybody that's trying to learn a new skill, which is like,
it's completely underrated. Like, I never realized how much, like, we read stupid quotes all the time online that are always like, only when you're fearless can you be successful or something. And I'm always like, yeah, suck my dick, whatever. But then after learning this thing and having this experience and finding the strength in myself and being fearless, it took being fearless to get good at this thing. And I'm not saying that I'm like Shaun White or anything, but I'm just saying like, it took being fearless, and that's something that I want to bring to every aspect of my life.
It's very cool, man. I actually, there's a comic out here who was in the X Games as a snowboarder.
Whoa, cool.
Yeah, he like, I found that out after he had done my show, and I was like, dude, you should have told me that. That would have been your credit. Was like 20 years ago you were in the X Games. And then he was like, well, I wasn't on the TV. I just like competed in the event, but they cut it out of the broadcast. So his credit would have been like, you were in the X Games, but only if you were at the mountain.
Yeah.
You're like one of the people behind the little barrier.
That's better than most people.
It's better than it's better than AGT and my podcast, which have been my credits for
my credit was MTV for 4 years, and then I was like, I think I've grown out of this credit.
That was my credit too. What was did you do the storytelling cartoon?
No, I wrote for a show called Joking Off, which was this improv with an audience, kind of young Who's Line kind of thing. And it was my first writing gig, and I thoroughly enjoyed working there. I would have I don't know, I probably would have done really great on the show, but I was also like, this is not for me. It was like, it's inspired by Wallin' Out. So it's like a bunch of people being like, yo, you know what I mean? And I'm like, oh, gross. I'd rather be a writer.
They're like, we need an Irish guy on here to.
Yeah. Dude, I auditioned for the show and they were like, you didn't make the cut, but if you want to be a writer, we need that. And it was great. It was like $6 fucking grand to write on it. And, it was a really fun time and whatever. But that was my credit for so long. And now I'm like, when people go, what do you want me to say? I go, what do you know about me? Just talk, whatever. Just say from your heart. You can say I'm a funny guy. If you need something, I just put an album out. And then you can say that, whatever.
Yeah, the last 3 comics I've had on my show all just put out albums, like their first. Well, no, I guess Liz.
Oh, wow.
I guess Liz Mealy has 2, but yours first, and then I had Sandy Danto who did his. And I've said the same thing to all of them. I'm like, you have the thing. Like, of all the credits that anybody can have, you have the best one, which is like, it's fucking me doing stand-up for an hour. Who gives a fuck what I did on MTV for 5 seconds that some 16-year-old chick in college saw at 3 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah, also, none of it matters.
Yes.
No one cares. No one cares. If you're nobody and no one recognizes you, nobody's listening to your credits. And if you are someone, they're not listening to your credits. They're listening to your name. And if they don't recognize it, they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They'll listen. Audience members are great and they love comedy. But like, if the person who goes up doesn't just go, ladies and gentlemen, your next comic, very funny. You probably know him, Chris Ra. Unless it's that, they don't care. And everybody tunes out immediately.
Not Chris Rock, but when I was one of the clubs I got to do in New York was Gotham a lot, and so there'd be huge comics that would come on shows, obviously, and even when Chris Rock, people like that come on, they get like a minute, and then if they suck, the audience lets them know that they suck too. Like, even their credit doesn't get you that much.
Well, because an audience, people love to be able to have that story of, I saw Chris Rock at Gotham and he fucking sucked. People want to be negative. They want their stories to be filled with negativity. I don't know what it is. I don't get it. It's so much easier to be positive, I guess, than it is to, because doesn't it hurt? Doesn't it hurt to say something like that? I hate that, but people love to have that story because what's the other story? Hey, I was at Gotham and Chris Rock walked in and he fucking murdered. Where's the story in that? It's a good story for us. We love to hear that shit. But if you're at a fucking party and you're eating little, cheese cubes with little fucking toothpicks in them, and you're talking to some other douchebag, you're going, I saw Chris Rock. Not that good live, and you look like intelligent for some reason.
Yeah,
people love. I was talking about. I'll let you'll go, but this pertains to this is that I think everybody has that gene in them to want to express themselves some way, whether it be artistically or verbally in some way. And most people do not have what it takes to chase after a dream or whatever. I'm starting to sound like a douchebag here, but so I think that's why most people express themselves through arguments online. That's why they like doing that. People love being shitty online because that's their expression of self. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I disagree. I'll disagree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then goodbye.
Yeah, you fuck. We are actually running low on time, but I'll quickly disagree with you and not give you a chance to rebut. So, no, like I think the way a lot of people respond online is because we're not evolved to be online. Like I don't think we're supposed to know more than 80 people. And I do think that I agree with you in the fact that like I think everybody's yearning for a way to express themselves. I just think that the things that we value as a society as far as expression go are like actors, movies, somewhere down that list is comedians. But like the guy that works in fucking Nebraska and he's the best car mechanic in Nebraska. And like whatever the fucking problem is, you bring your car to this guy and you're driving away in 8 hours because he was able to fix your overheated engine block. This is where I try to sound like a man and I'm not. I don't know how you fix cars. But whatever he does,
I totally was following. I didn't even realize that you were saying something that doesn't exist.
Whatever it is that lets him fix cars, that is I do believe that is an expression of himself. Like that's a trade that he mastered, that got good at. It's just not seen in the same way of other people expressing their art. I kind of view all the digital hate as like, I mean, look, everybody's got good and evil in them, but I just think all of that media, the fact that you can be anonymous on YouTube and just fucking shit on everything, I think it's harder to access that positive part of you through the lens that people have. Anger, resentment, those are the surface things, and you have to go deeper to find like the true vulnerability that motivates it, you know? Yeah,
you're right. It is easier to be negative when you're criticizing something and everything.
Yeah.
But I honestly think it is easier to be nice. I think it's easier when you're like right now we're just being nice to each other and it's super fucking easy. Like it's hard to get yourself into conflict, especially like when you don't want to, but it is easier to criticize something. It is easier to pick it apart and then just roll. Cause that does just roll off people's tongues. Everybody's always like, man, sucked. That's awful.
Sucked.
Blah, blah, blah.
Well, what's the thing they say? Like if you have a positive experience with like a restaurant 10 times, you'll tell one person. If you have a negative experience at a restaurant one time, you'll tell 100 people.
Yeah.
Online is just the viral explosion of it's so much easier to default to that, especially when you don't have to put your fucking face behind it. You can just be like, Rah.
Yeah, just a picture of your fucking Ford truck.
Yeah, try to be mean to somebody's face. Be mean to somebody's face and watch them get like insecure and nervous and like have to live in that moment with them after you say something shitty. People don't fucking do that.
But people don't realize it, man. They don't think what they're doing is that hurtful. Like if you still talk to if you have any unintelligent civilian friends, there's a difference between intelligent people that understand that don't work in the arts like we do.
Yeah.
But if you have someone who's just like a fucking regular Joe Schmo, after doing 10 years of stand-up comedy, I've realized how fucking negative they are about people they don't fucking know. You know what I mean? They have a friend who's like super into podcasts and he's like, oh yeah, but fucking Andrew Santino is not really that fucking good. And I'm like, I don't know that guy, but I know what that life is like. And I'm sure it's you have no fucking idea. You have no place to say what you're saying. And they're just like, ugh. Like no one gets how big of a deal it really is to shit on somebody that like that.
And it's shitting on anything that you don't have an understanding of. Yeah. I was going to say the other thing you were like, people don't know how much they're hurting you. I did a YouTube video. This is like 8 years ago where I was dressed up in a onesie gold unitard up to my face. I was the snitch ball from Harry Potter.
Okay. And whatever you got, you deserve for that.
I have no defense for the things I said yes to while I was in the improv community. It was a lot of yes and
I get it.
So the video so the video comes out. There's like 13 views on YouTube, and there's one comment, and the one comment is just, "Who's the fat guy in the gold suit?" And I think about that comment once a week for fucking 8 years. I'm like, that got me so, because I'm like,
I'm in the gym.
Wait, what?
Did that put you in the? Get you to the gym?
Fuck yeah, it got me in the gym, dude, which has all gone away in the last year. But like, yeah dude, it was. I'm I'm embarrassed at how often I think about who's the fat guy in the gold suit.
Buddy, these comments get to us, man. They don't realize how easily we see them. We see them. We see them. Big famous comedians see their comments.
Yeah.
And we see them more than ever because we're nobodies. So it's like, that's I turned off all the notifications on everything. So I don't see anything. If I tweet something, I'll wait a couple hours. I'll check to see how it did. If it has all these comments, I don't even read it because it's like, what a waste of time. But when I had the notifications on, I would do, I would tweet something. Oh, man, there's so many different kinds of milks. And then someone would tweet back at me, yeah, because you're a fat idiot. And then I would see it immediately and I would cry.
Yeah, you don't need that milk anymore.
No,
yeah, that's
no, baby.
Yeah, it's brutal. All right, man. Look, we said an hour. I don't want to keep you over time, and you said you have to meditate. So I want to
check out that fucking playlist, man. And if you don't like it, then whatever. Who cares? But it's I think it'll get you kickstarted. Seems like you need it.
Yeah, well, yeah,
you're
that is my fucking.
Yeah.
I told my sister, she was like, "What are you, 16?" I was like, "Yeah, I don't know what to say." Like I had a lot of followers.
Yeah,
it's a lot of followers to lose.
Hey man, take that Fred Durst hat and throw it away.
Yeah, now that I'm thinking, I was meditating to break stuff, so that was probably why.
Yeah, it was just one of those days, I guess. Yeah,
I love a good Fred Durst reference to end a fucking pod. I feel like I should give you something of use before we sign off, but I don't have it right currently.
Hey, you did companionship for an hour.
There you go, buddy. Well, look, thanks for doing the show, and yeah, man, it was good having you.
Yeah, and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, everybody, and don't say mean shit.
Thanks for listening to this free episode. To help me keep more episodes coming, here's how you can support the show. Go to erichellwig.com where you can follow my social media, join my newsletter, and check out my merch store. Wherever you're listening, make sure to subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, please rate and review the show 5 stars. Lastly, my Patreon page is coming in 2021. If you're interested, email erichellwigcomedy@gmail.com to join the waitlist. Future members at the $5 a month level will get weekly episodes, tickets to my stand-up, merch giveaways, bonus content from my other comedy projects, and more. Again, just email erichellwigcomedy@gmail.com and join the waitlist.